Hello everyone, hello again. So I am back with the part 3 video on how to make a full flight on a Boeing 737-800. In the part 1 and 2 we covered
Prt3 inbound Kukla X time 07 leaving my airspace. Correction, contact Beirut radar 119.3. Have a nice flight. Salam.
119.3 contacting Beirut radar. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, Prt3. Now I need
You too, bye-bye.
Okay, so we discussed the setting up, configuring the airplane, taxi, depart, cruising. We reached the cruising, and now we are going to descend towards Beirut. As you can see here, I have to contact Beirut control, and then later they will pass me to the tower. I'm already connected to this frequency now, 119.3. Okay, so I need to contact and take further clearances to descend and do the landing. So we reset the MCP altitude. It was 150 initially, or 15,000, and now I reset to 8,000. Initially, just now I will take further clearances to know where to descend. Later on, this is just to tell the autopilot not to overshoot the top of descent. So yeah, with that said, I will now contact the ATC and take further clearances and configure the aircraft for the arrival.
Qatar 426, Beirut control, how do you read?
Hello and good evening, Beirut radar. This is Qatar 426, inbound Kukla, flying level 150.
Qatar 426, good evening to you. Continue descent to 11,000, vectors to the ILS runway 16 in Beirut, wind 20010 knots, KNH 1013 hectopascals.
Copy that. Continue descending to 11,000 feet, KNH 1014 hectopascal, Qatar 426. So he gave me clearance to start the descent to 11,000 feet and some information about the wind. Now when we pass the transition altitude, then I will enter the pressure setting. So now I will hit level change to tell the aircraft to go down to 11,000. Okay, now it's transition altitude is 15,000.
Qatar 426, after crossing Kukla, turn left heading 100 and continue your descent to 5,000.
Okay, now he is going to vector me to the arrival runway. He said turn left to 100.
Qatar 426, after Kukla, left heading 100, left heading 100 and continue your descent to 5,000.
Copy that. After Kukla, heading left 100, continue descent to 5,000. Qatar 426. So after Kukla, which is here, this is Kukla, I have to go left at the heading given by the ATC and continue descent to 5,000. I will just set this altitude here. We are descending, and I will set the 1014 PNH. And have we crossed Kukla? Not yet. Okay, almost there. 2 nautical mile to Kukla. And descending. So once we cross Kukla, I'm going to hit this button, heading select, to comply with the ATC instruction of heading 100. So okay, the aircraft is heading towards that. Anyways, so yeah, we passed Kukla. We just select heading select to maintain the APC heading that he gave us. And 5000 set, we are descending. So now we want to set the course for the arrival runway. We can find that here in the LCMC. We go to this approach reference and we find that the heading of this runway is 162. We set 162 here. I think in real world is 164, but that's just for the sake of the video. Keep it at that, 162. This I think has to do something to do with the nav data not being updated. So yeah, 162. Course is set. Now again we have to set the frequency of the ILS in to be able to set the runway ILS, which is 110.1. We set the ILS frequency here. 110. What was it? 110.1. So 110.1 here and 110.1 in the active section here to be able to capture the ILS, which is the instrument landing system. It's a system in the airport, helps the aircraft align with the center line of the runway and do a descent in a way that the aircraft kind of gets on the runway at the touchdown and like help the pilot align and descend towards the runway for the landing. So course is set for landing runway. 5000 descending to 5000 as instructed, heading 100 as instructed by the ATC, and I am waiting for further clearances from the ATC to follow. And in this time I'm gonna keep configuring my airplane to for the arrival. I'm gonna turn on the landing lights, fasten seat belts as we are going to land. Going to start reducing my speed in order to arrive or align with the runway nice and easy. Notice how the aircraft reduced the rate of descent because I gave it a new speed which is lower than the previous speed, and now it's trying to counteract.
Qatari 46, present heading, descend and maintain 2000.
Okay, I have been given further clearance to descend to 2000. Maintaining heading and descending to 2000 feet, Qatari 426. This is how clearance is taken and it has to be acknowledged and repeated. Okay. I feel I need a little bit of more descent rate, so I'm going to select vertical speed and set it to minus 2000 feet per minute. I don't want to be high on profile, so even though we are gaining a little bit of speed, we can rectify that later. I'm going to reduce the speed further to 220 knots for now and continue configuring the airplane for the landing.
Qatari 026, turn right heading 130 degrees, maintain 2000, clear to join the ILS 16.
Turning right heading 130 degrees, will report when ILS is established for runway 16, Qatari 46.
Roger.
Okay, now I'm heading, this is the runway and this is where I can intercept the ILS. Okay, descending. A little bit high on speed. I'm going to apply some speed brakes.
1,000 to go.
I will set auto brake to 2 and I will reduce the speed further to 200. Now I will hit the approach button in preparation to intercept the ILS. So hitting the approach button tells the airplane that to be ready for an ILS frequency to be intercepted and then align itself with the arrival runway, which is 16 at Beirut. Okay, good. We are on 2000. Our speed is dropping. I like that. Our approach is on. Our auto brakes is at 2. We need to turn it here. Runway turn off lights on. And engine switches to continuous. Speed brake off. Speed brake armed. And I will start now the final preparation for the landing. Now notice here when the aircraft intercept the ILS frequency, it will show here and it will start turn and align itself with the runway center line. Wait and observe. Our speed is good. Okay, see, aircraft is intercepted the ILS frequency and now started aligning itself with the runway. I will start applying flaps 1. And now I need to also take further clearance for final approach and landing. Dropping the speed to 180 and applying some more flaps 2. Beirut radar, ILS approach is established, runway 16 for Qatari 46.
Qatari 46, continue ILS approach, runway 16, contact Beirut Tower 118.9er, enjoy your landing, good night.
118.9er for Beirut Tower, thank you very much, and have a good evening, Qatari 46.
Bye bye.
Okay, I'm gonna have to switch to the Beirut Tower 118.9er and request the further clearances from them only. Beirut Tower, very good evening. This is Qatari 46 requesting final clearance to land runway 16.
Qatari 426, good evening, surface wind is 185 at 8 knots, clear to land runway 16.
Clear to land runway 16 for Qatari 46. I have to repeat always the clearance, so I'm reducing my speed further and I'm going to put some more flaps 5, flaps 10, landing gear down, okay, see the reference speed at which we are going to land. At flaps 40 we can land the speed of 132 plus 5, 137. I'm going to set that speed here, 137.
Flaps.
That is the
Flaps.
Speed stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
speed, and I'm going to apply the flaps. Flaps 30.
Approaching 16.
And final flaps 40. I'm going to disengage the auto throttle now as I want to have it manual. So disengaging auto throttle, watching my speed. I'm at 500. Okay, easy on the power. Okay, a little bit more power. Approaching minimums. 200. I'll disconnect the autopilot now and go manual. Watching the speed. 100.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ooh, a little bit harsh, but not a problem.
80 knots.
Thrust reversal, the reverser are released at 80 knots, and I can also switch off the auto brakes. And now I'm going to vacate the runway to for taxiing also now. I have vacated runway, but I cannot taxi unless I take further clearances to taxi in the airport. So vacating the runway and taxi. Retracting all the flaps and spoilers.
Thank you and have a great day.
Beirut Tower, Qatar 46, vacated runway 16 to the left.
Qatari 426, welcome to Beirut, cross runway 17, taxi to gate of choice.
Cross runway 17 and taxiing to gate of choice, Qatari 46. Now he gave me clearance to cross a runway that is ahead of me and to taxi to the gate of choice. In real world, there's not gonna be a gate of choice. There's going to be a specified gate that you need to taxi to. So flaps retracted, speed brakes off.
Beirut Tower, Assalamu alaikum. This is Kuwaiti 167. Request clearance IFR to Dubai with information eco.
I had a little bit of hard
Approaching
landing.
3.
Kuwaiti 167, good evening. Are you connected to the network? Because I cannot see you on my radar.
So now I'm going to taxi to any of these gates. So let's pick the closest one. We'll try to make it center of this line as much as possible. Let's see how accurate I can be without any guidance from the ground staff. Oh my god, look at that. almost there, like really at the center, just a little bit to the left. And this is how you land. I will set my parking brake. Now in early stages, just after landing, I think pilots need to start the APU. Okay, now we can switch off the landing lights, turn off the runway turn off lights, switch this to steady, switch off anti-collision. And what we want to do is, let me see here. Okay, there's no external power. Let's let the APU start. This APU actually should start while we are taxiing to the gate. And okay, now we can switch off the window heat, we can switch off the probe heat, and we can start now switching off the aircraft. Now, okay, we take the power from the APU generators, and then we perform the engine switch off so that the ground staff can come and, you know, take your luggage and do all sorts of things around the aircraft. Now engines are flaming out, turning off. What else? Flight directors off. This is already off. Okay, electric hydro pumps off, yaw dampers off, nav off, IRS off, and fuel pumps also of course off, we don't need that anymore. Engine switches off, bags off, isolation valve open, and we can now start switching off our airplane after it is disembarked. So switch off that, and now we can completely go dark, switching off the entire aircraft. Okay, that is it. This is part 3 of 3 of how you can make a full flight in the Boeing 737-800 from starting up the aircraft to, as you saw, switching it off at the arrival gate. I covered in those 3 parts, in those 3 videos, 3 parts.
This is Kuwaiti 167.
Okay, I can just disconnect from this. We covered all the essential elements and all the essential things on how you can set up, configure, fly the Boeing 737 and then land it. We had a bit of a harsh landing, but it's fine. And this is going to be the end of part 3. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for watching, and have an absolutely fantastic day.